Hello. Today is Halloween. I had the privilege of platforming this morning at Unity Church. Unity Church is a practical spiritual path which acknowledges all spiritual paths. So it's beautiful. The goal is to raise the consciousness of love, and it accepts everyone. So the love is always felt. I wasn't supposed to platform today, but someone else wasn't able to, so I stepped in. I've been scheduling the platform for a while now, and I had no problem stepping in. I was grateful to do it. And then I came to the woods. I really couldn't think of a better way to spend my morning. There was so much love in that room this morning. It just filled your heart. And so when I platform, I make the usual announcements. We talk about, what's happening in the month and the week. I made an announcement about the ministerial church committee I'm part of. And it's just finding a new minister. We have an interview coming up. I was not ordained as a Unity minister, so it's not a role that I'm trying to fill, but it is a role that we are all trying to fill for the community. And I think we all co-create that together. And it was really a beautiful morning because we were all able to do our part. And just being there was that part. We had a great musician, Beth. She has a phenomenal voice. And we had a member, Quentin, who also has a phenomenal voice. And Beth did the guitar, and they sang together, and they went back and forth, and it was quite powerful and beautiful. A leaf just fell on my head. So it was pleasant. A man named Bruce spoke. He has been at Talmadge Unity, and he was an interim minister there, I believe. And he had a good message. He talked about this could be the first day of the rest of your life, right now. That sounded to me like a change in perspective. He mentioned, what if you had a week left to live? And it made me think about, which I also mentioned, and that's why I thought maybe I'd pop on here and tell you guys what I had come up for me from his talk. It's interesting how people's talks bring things out in us when we watch and pay attention. So it reminded me of something Lao Tzu taught. We hammer the wood for a house, but if the inner space is, it's really what makes the house livable. Yeah, we build the outside of it, and that's great. But if we don't cultivate, practice, or keep our house clean, how can we live in it? We'd probably become too cluttered. It would be too much. It'd be overwhelming. We wouldn't be able to be healthy. It's one of the reasons I come to nature, to declutter, to find that space. So, he also mentioned Ralph Waldo Emerson, and he mentioned a quote by him about moving beyond and living in the moment, because so many people get stuck in their past and the stories and their feedback loop. All those stories you tell yourself, they become your reality. And when you can't let go, you can't let go. You're stuck. This brought up the Heart Sutra for me. And there's a part in the Heart Sutra, and it goes, Gate Gate Parasamgate. And this is Sanskrit. But the gist of it is going beyond, going beyond. And when you get there, keep going. You don't go back. You keep going forward. But you're doing it in this moment. I've been chanting that sutra for years, and every time I relate it to something, it just grows deeper and deeper, like the spiral of this life. And it doesn't have to be a Buddhist sutra. It can be a simple word. It can be a quote from Jesus. You know, this morning, John 14:12 was mentioned. There are so many ways to relate to the world. It's just what we internalize. Today's Halloween. You know, do I internalize fear? Or do I make it love? I'll be dressing up as a cow later today and going trick-or-treating with my daughter, who's being Piglet. And I do that with love. I don't do it with fear. So Bruce's talk this morning was about the 4 agreements, and the gist of that is be true to your word. Don't take things personal. Don't make assumptions. And do your best. He mentioned not to do 110%. Like, yes, I did this with 110%. Because the 100% is your best. You don't have to do better than your best. You do your best in the moment right now. And right now, this moment, I'm doing my best by sharing this with you. I'm doing my best by showing up this morning, by platforming, by speaking my truth. I commented some of these things after he spoke, and it was so well received. People came up to me after and told me their heart was filled. They commented how wonderful I did up there, how great it was. And my response to that is I spoke from my heart. It was my interpretation of what came up. And we all have that ability to interpret, to look deeper, to feel into the situation. And what do we take away from it? Usually when people give a talk, it's what are the takeaways? And you focus on those things. And Bruce had a few. Obviously the 110%. That one kind of resonated with me. I don't have to do better than my best. I'm always doing my 100%. You know, even if you're tired or you have other excuses or other things going on, you're still doing the best you can at that moment. And that's all you can do. It reminded me actually of a story about a child who was at a Halloween event and they broke their Slinky. They just got this brand new, shiny, nice new Slinky, and it broke. With only a few minutes of playing with it, it just broke. And even though this child had other Slinkies, they were fixated on the fact that this Slinky was broken. And it upset the child inside so much. They just wanted their Slinky back. Just wanted things not to be broken. And in a way, in life, do we say that sometimes? I remember referring to myself as broken goods many years ago. Now I think about that and I don't know why I would ever say that about myself. Because we are always whole, even when we feel broken. I told everyone that, what is your slinky? What is your slinky in life? How do you react when it breaks? After some time had passed, and some time of suffering about the broken slinky, the material object that brought such joy, but yet when it broke, it brought such suffering. And it's because the value that was placed on the slinky. It wasn't about the slinky itself. It was about the way that slinky was perceived. Because there were other slinkies, but it wasn't that slinky. So ask yourself that. What is my slinky? So, when you're stuck on the past, you can always look up to the sky. And allow your heart to be as open as that sky. Don't wait for the sky to part. Be the sky. The blue sky, it's everywhere, at all times. Even if we can't always see it, it's still there. Just like our true nature. And just like the nature we live in. You know, yesterday I felt a little bit depleted. You know, I could tell you probably certain reasons that I felt like why I would be depleted, or why I was depleted, or what happened. But I'd like to share with you instead an observation. While I was feeling depleted, I went and sat with the trees. I went and sat outside. I focused on my breath. And I felt connected and rooted to Mother Earth in a deep, deep manner. And this brought ease to my mind and to my body, to my muscles and my joints, to my tendons and my ligaments. It brought pure joy. And I am so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful that I was able to take the time in that moment to recognize this, to see that I don't have to carry a bunch of baggage with me. I can hand it over, and I can reflect, and I can share, and I can love, and I can let go. And I was able to clear my mind and my aura and start fresh. We could start fresh any day, any time. It's a matter of choice. We are that well that never dries up. Let us now be the vastness of the abundant sky. You know, these things, they sound easy to say. And they are when you live that way. But living that way, it takes some work. But once you do the work, you won't want to go back. You will go forward. Gate, gate, para samgate. And here I am, breathing with nature once again. That depletion of energy from yesterday has left me. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to notice that, to see that. And I'm grateful to be here again with nature, right now, on this Halloween day, watching the leaves let go of their leaves, watching the trees let go of their leaves, watching the leaves let go of their leaves. That sounds interesting. That sounds like letting go of letting go. Because after a while, everything just is. And that's okay. Thank you again, dear ones, for listening. Thank you for the light that you bring into this world. The speaker, Bruce, this morning, before his talk, he was doing a sound check. And he mentioned the prism, the Pink Floyd prism, on the album cover, Dark Side of the Moon. I'm sure many of you have seen it. If you haven't, look it up. And it's a triangle, a prism, and the light goes in and it shoots out rainbow light. And I mentioned to him, what if you saw it the other way? And he said, what do you mean? Like the rainbow goes in and it shoots out the light? And I said, exactly. Reflect on that. What does that mean to you? Thank you. Namaste. Have a good day.